So we more or less live in a world we learned as children, and this is mentally anchored in our system. And the more uncomfortable this world is, the more we learn to shift our perception in the frequency of thinking. So if we are kind of a rainbow, so there is red and infrared, and there is orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and the same are we. So the red frequency is the most dense, the most slow frequency, as is the physical. And then there is vitality, which gives us life, nerve frequency. Then there is emotional frequency. Then there is mental frequency. So it's like a radio. You have different frequencies. And if one of these frequencies, or two, maybe the physical and the emotional, is very uncomfortable, and then we escape into the mental, which is very intelligent, actually. This is not a stupid thing. This is very intelligent to do. So in this grounding process, we also have to ask ourselves, why are we not naturally grounded? Because feeling is our natural state. Not feeling is something we have to learn. And when we learn it, it makes sense for us. So if things are too intense for our child body, for our child system, then we learn to compensate it in this way or the other. We learn to get our attention, even if it's in a seemingly negative way. We learn to compensate on certain things. We learn to explain our world why it is like this. We learn a lot, but this is a mental activity in many ways. Until we come to the point where we think we feel. Where of course, we have always a slight connection to our physical body and to our emotional body. But in many ways, we just know that there are feelings. We don't feel them anymore. And this maybe sounds a little bit complicated, but when you kind of remember how you were as a child with your parents or your teachers, and then maybe you got the message from your parents or from your teacher, I am not angry. And then as a child, this is not so easy to receive, because the words, the mental frequency submits a message. Then there is the emotional body giving a message, but they are not congruent. And then there is the physical body also sending out a message. And as children, we are kind of dependent that this message is more or less congruent. Otherwise, we get very disturbed. So when the mind says, I'm not angry, but the rest of the system kind of transmits anger. So as children, we get disturbed. And then, of course, we learn that it's better to rely to the words than to what we feel. And this is a very uncomfortable state, because we cannot rely anymore on our compass. And the compass we get given by the world is not very reliable. So we come into a very interesting or very uncomfortable state of disturbance, of unreliability, of unclarity, of I cannot rely to the outer world, and I also cannot rely to the inner world. And then we come into a relatively lost state. This is a little bit extreme in its explanation, but mostly everybody of us has these kind of areas. And in the moment we kind of start, again with exercises like grounding, we will definitely face these places in us. Because when we start to reconnect to what we have left out, we will also meet the feelings which are stored in there, which our defense ministry is not very fond of. So my system tells me, don't go there, I protect you. I will think this and that, I will distract you, I will bring you into not feeling, I make you sleepy, I make you angry, but we definitely don't go there again. So it's a kind of a process of reconnecting to ourselves and gaining the trust in ourselves in a surrounding which is as secure as possible. So if I have no idea, so maybe we people who work with people. So we start, in some moments, we start to realize that development needs security. We don't develop when we are insecure. So putting pressure on children to make them develop is not a good idea.